If you get scammed, don't be embarrassed about that shit. Get your fucking money back. Look,
Expose them. Let everybody else know.
Embarrass them. Why?
I been getting money. 1-800, I just tell me up a loud pay. When they come to get that money, we be bout that. When the sun go down, you know it's time to count that. If you tryna get some from me, meet me out west. I'm on 59 swinging with my down bitch.
What's good? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Big Wave God.
La Lindsay.
And we back today for another reaction. Now today we react to, you want to read the title?
He romance scammed her, but she hunted him down.
Ooh, what you see? These scammers is getting out of control, man. Y'all scamming anybody, dog. Romance scam.
She hunted him down. We ain't
Yeah.
taking that scamming no more.
Niggas ain't getting away with it no more at this point. Like, they like, fuck it. Let's just scam somebody. Whether we get caught or not. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? This about to be like some crazy? He said romance. He romanced her, so he obviously put the dick on her. But hunting him down, maybe it was over the internet.
How you gonna hunt somebody down on the internet? That's in real life.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe he was scamming her over the internet.
Oh,
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
He probably did.
Catfish shit. But anyway, let's get into the video, man. We about to see what these boys talking about. I know this nigga here is crazy. I can already tell by his cover photos. Let's get it.
You never do anything spontaneous. Those were the words spoken to the then 36-year-old Acacia Windinot by her friend before she went on a date with Wilson Jackson, the man who would consume the next few years of her life for all the
Mr. Wilson.
Windinot's
never have
life
on his
truly
shirt.
changed when she
It's a
received.
red flag.
Hold on, that shit was funny. That shit was funny.
Man.
That shit was funny.
Received a friend request and a follow-up Facebook message from Jackson. On the surface, Jackson seemed like a genuine guy. He wore nice clothes in his pictures, and they even shared 4 mutual friends. His expression on the photos oozed charm, intelligence, and confidence. Jackson's message was, "What's up, beautiful?" Confirm these impressions. "What's up, beautiful?" wasn't an uncommon first message for Windinot to find in her DMs. It's a message that she's used to getting.
fell for that.
Nevertheless, Jackson stuck out like a well-dressed, confident thumb to his "What's up, beautiful?"
Another-
I bet that ain't even him.
Hello.
That's what I
But it
was
was enough
thinking.
to
They
get a
never met in
response from
person.
Jackson. He continued the Facebook message convo with Windinot for several weeks before asking her on a date. During those weeks, Windinot became close to Jackson. She found out he wasn't a catfish after they FaceTimed on a few occasions. They spoke on the phone,
okay.
talking about their mutual love of sports, particularly football. Jackson asked her about the 9 years she served in the Air Force, and Windinot answered, telling him all about her.
You scammed a veteran, bro?
She's pretty.
You scammed a veteran? Ah, man. You going to hell.
Her time abroad. Jackson listened to every word. In fact, Windinot got the impression that he cared about her, especially when he offered to fly Windinot from her home in Scottsdale, Arizona, out to his house in LA for Christmas. Windinot's original plans were to spend Christmas with her
Let's
best
say they
friend,
go
but
together.
the plans were canceled at the last minute. Now, left with no holiday plans, Windinot was still on the fence about accepting Jackson's offer. This was not something she'd normally do. Windinot's friend eventually convinced her to let Jackson buy her a ticket to LA and finally do something spontaneous. Windinot packed her things and left for the airport. Earlier, Jackson sent Windinot a screenshot of the boarding pass he bought for her. Everything seemed to be in order. Not to mention, Windinot had finally found someone she liked who could meet her expectations.
How did nigga
However,
stop saying her
when she
name?
got to the
Fuck.
airport, employees said her ticket was invalid.
Uh-oh.
Windinot, assuming something must have gone wrong during the purchasing process, called Jackson to get things sorted out. But when Jackson answered the phone, he didn't offer a solution. Instead, he insisted the ticket must be valid. Windinot explained that the
How you
flight
get a
would leave
boarding
soon and she
pass?
needed a ticket to LA pronto. So Jackson instructed Windinot to buy a ticket at the airport. He promised to pay her back when she got to LA and to prove something was going on with
She was she was at the ticket counter?
Yeah, cause he sent her a picture of the boarding pass, I guess. So she went to the airport to print the ticket out.
Oh, I'm not
And the
that's
shit didn't
doing
exist.
too
But
much.
how he get a whole
I'm mad
boarding?
now.
How he get a boarding pass with her name on it and
I'm
shit?
mad.
If he sent the picture,
Probably edited it.
nigga, Photoshop God, and then
Edit
don't
that
tell
in
her.
there.
You know what? Just buy your ticket and fly. I'll pay you back when you get here. That's already a red flag, girl.
That is a red
Goddamn.
flag. Like, I'm already at the gate. I thought this vacation was already planned. Now I'm here. Now I gotta buy my ticket.
Nah, I gotta pay for it. I'm going to fuck back home.
With the ticket he initially bought, Jackson sent We Do Not screenshots of him dealing with the bank. We Do Not says she proceeded to buy a ticket to LA and boarded the plane. Her plane landed at LAX in the
ghost
late
her.
hours of the night. Jackson picked her up and took her to the movies. We Do Not recalls how he was in person just as charming, fun, and kind as he
Yeah, he
seemed
really
on
a real
FaceTime.
person.
Jackson asked her about We Do Not's future, her
Nigga, a
career
rapper.
aspirations, and any wild,
He a
crazy
scammer.
dreams she harbored. In the morning, like a true gentleman, he cooked her breakfast.
Yo, that shirt in front of that range, though, the shirt was wag. You love my
Classic
swag?
combination of bacon and eggs. After
Looks
they
like
ate breakfast,
an old-
Jackson took We Do Not
7.
to the airport.
Oh, what's that?
On Monday,
Oh,
her
5.
second full day
Oh.
back home, We Do Not noticed over $3,000 was missing from her bank account. We Do Not scanned her card's transaction history and discovered where the purchases were made. The largest transaction was a $2,500 transfer to another account. The other
Damn.
2 payments for a plane ticket and items at a fast food restaurant. All the
Ooh.
money charges were billed from California. We Do Not knew exactly who had used her card. So, not long
He took
after
a
seeing
picture
the
of her
charges,
shit.
We Do Not filed a police report against Jackson. She wanted Jackson apprehended as soon as possible.
She had left
Fortunately,
already?
The police didn't share her desire for revenge. When We Do Not called the Scottsdale police, they deferred her to the Los Angeles police, who boomeranged We Do Not right back to Scottsdale police, telling her she'd have
Gave
to
her the
file a
runaround.
report with them.
That's
Most
fucked
people
up
would
right
give
there,
up
bro.
as $3,000.
You can't even be a fucking victim because nobody gonna take the shit serious. Y'all got this lady doing all that shit, man. That's $3,000. Might have
In today's time, people always wait to the last minute because you should have researched and did all that before you went to go meet a stranger and flew all the way. He could have been a serial killer. Luckily, he scammed you.
I guess.
That's
I
the-
mean,
that's-
they was in. She thought they was in a relationship. bro.
No, you haven't even met each other in person. I mean, you met over the internet. Y'all just FaceTime and that's it. Y'all don't even stay in the same state. So, I don't know. You got to research people because you don't know people. You just meet them on the internet. You meet a persona. That's not them at all.
Facts. Y'all meeting big wave guy. Y'all motherfuckers don't know me.
At all.
You feel me?
Started with the basics. Where did Jackson live? Even though she'd been to his house, We Do Not couldn't remember Jackson's address, and without his address, finding Jackson would be very difficult. She couldn't find any home addresses linked to the purchases on her bank statement, but she did find the address of the fast food restaurant. After finding the restaurant address, We Do Not searched every apartment complex in the area, and with the help of her memory, found the apartment complex she stayed at with Jackson. She remembered
she
Jackson taking her
crazy.
to a tall building,
She was just
so
in a
tall
daze.
that they
She
had to
didn't
park
remember
in an
nothing.
underground parking garage.
Addresses.
So We Do Not
Like,
narrowed-
no offense, but you was like a white lady walking around random apartments. So if you would have walked in the motherfucking trenches or some shit, nigga probably would have just hollered at her anyway. They didn't do nothing to her.
Yeah, this was on 22, but I would have been more aware right there. When you going somewhere, I would have knew the address. Probably would already sent the address to somebody else. So she researching stuff, don't even have no memory. Like, oh, I have to Google apartments in the area.
She made a lot of
She was in the
mistakes.
days when
She
she
made
went to
a-
go visit him. She don't even.
She was blindly
She
in
couldn't go
love.
visit. Like Drake said, take the scenic route because she don't remember nothing.
Owed her search to tall apartment buildings with underground garages. She also remembered being close to a movie theater on a noisy LA street. Using these very specific criteria, We did not
Wow,
find a
nigga stayed
potential match.
downtown.
Just to be sure it was the building she stayed at, the rookie sleuth looked up the floor plans, then based on her memory of walking through the rooms and hallways, determined this was the place.
That's the
We
gadget.
called the building's phone number and asked the clerk if a resident named Will Jackson lived there. The clerk
Nope.
said no, and we had not felt
'Cause
a
he lived with
dreadful
somebody else.
epiphany
That's
wash
not his
over
real
her.
name.
Will Jackson was not his real name. We did not kept digging. She used methods she initially learned from MTV's Catfish, such as reverse Google image searches on
Yep,
Jackson's
there you
Facebook
go.
page. Eventually, one of those reverse searches yielded a
To
link
his real
to a
Facebook.
social media account under a different name.
Mm-hmm.
The account had an email into the email account and discovered it belonged to someone named Sincere Jackson. We did not kept digging and Googled the name. The results were mostly unrelated, except for one article. The article was small, only 85 words, but it contained some vital info on Jackson. Oddly enough, the article's publisher was from Orlando, a local paper called the West Orlando News. In
Damn.
2011, The Orlando News published an article on Jackson, saying that the police department were searching for victims willing to come forward and testify against Jackson.
Boy, living a
Alongside the
scamming
victim's
life.
story was a mugshot of Jackson, who we did not easily recognized. The real question was, who are these victims?
nigga got hella
What did
mugshot.
Jackson do to them? Was it similar to what he did to
Why you
her?
got the same face
Detective
as him?
Wiedenot would soon find out. In 2007, a Florida woman who gave reporters the alias Shonda Porter dated Jackson. She described him as a snake who could shed his skin on command and become anyone he needed to be. But that isn't how Jackson saw himself. Porter dated Jackson long enough to notice a large tattoo on his back, written in bold, daring letters, "Outlaw." Wiedenot would later discover, after some more online sleuthing, that Jackson grew up as anything but an outlaw. According to public records, Jackson was born in Daytona Beach, Florida. Contrary to his tattoo, Jackson was raised in a conservative Christian household. Growing up, he did everything he could to escape his family's culture. As a young man, Jackson attempted to start
lot
a
of black
rap
people
career
grew up
under the
in a
name
Christian
Da
household,
Truth.
so that's
However,
not-
Da Truth wasn't very good. Jackson spent his early years bouncing around Florida, mainly between Tallahassee and Orlando, all the while claiming to his many girlfriends he was playing football and writing bars. In reality, Jackson was
Boy,
learning how to
Jackson.
scam people, specifically successful young women on social media and dating apps. These girls saw Jackson the same way Wiedenot had. Handsome, well-dressed, tall, fit-looking man with charm to impress even the most skeptical women. He used these attributes to lure dozens of
That
women
nigga
to trust him.
finesse you
After
and made you
contacting
buy
other
your own
victims
plane
and hearing
ticket.
their
He a
stories,
cold nigga.
Wiedenot discovered Jackson's operation. She also realized how similar her story was to other victims. On a basic level, all the other victims, including Wiedenot, had a few common experiences. They were contacted by Jackson, usually online, talked with him for a while, then he asked them for a favor or some kind of big purchase with the promise of reimbursement.
I wonder why
after
Jackson
which
don't wanna be with
Jackson
them.
would either
They
not pay
already
them
have
back or
money,
steal
but
their
he's
bank
like,
information and disappear, seemingly
from every
without a
girl.
trace, until he met Wiedenot, of course. She was the only
Instead of
victim who
being
cared
one.
enough to track him down. In fact, no one did more than her in finding so-called Will Jackson, whose birth name was Wilson Edward Jackson. However, he used the name Sincere often, which was why Wiedenot had such a tough time finding him. But when she did, Wiedenot finally saw how extensive Jackson's scamming truly was. Before she continued her research on the other victims, Wiedenot contacted a professional, then 55-year-old LAPD detective Stephanie Kretschmer. By 2018, when Wiedenot
If she would have been this eager to doing all this other research, she would have got scammed. She would have known where he stayed. She would have known his last name. She would have known what kind of car he picked up from the airport in. She didn't know none of that at first.
You supposed to have your guard up from the
Your
beginning.
ducks in a row.
Not after you get scammed. You gotta have your shit up.
She
These
must.
motherfuckers crazy.
She was in the whirlwind. She had fun over there. She had
Had
fun,
She
and
got piped down, and whenever your ass went to sleep, he was taking pictures of that goddamn credit
That's
card.
why
and
she's
that
so
debit
mad.
card. That
That's
nigga
why-
knew your PIN number, transferred that shit to another account, all that shit.
he sure did. He transferred the money. He knew he went into your checking account website.
You know what I'm
reached
saying?
out to her.
Log in your app.
Kretschmer had been investigating Jackson for a while, ever since the charming scam artist had moved to LA back in 2014. Wiedenot could not arrest Jackson herself, but Kretschmer could. The Scottsdale sleuth presented Kretschmer with all the evidence she collected so far and convinced the LA detective that Jackson needed to be arrested immediately. Kretschmer, however, had a lot on her plate. The city of Angels was filled with scamming demons, and small-scale scams like Jackson's were not a #1 priority. Nevertheless, the overworked and overwhelmed detective promised Wiedenot she would arrest Jackson as soon as possible. Wiedenot hung up the phone feeling
They took their
confident
time on her.
Kretschmer would take care of the arrest. In the meantime, however, Wiedenot could not let the case go. So far, Kretschmer only had 8 victims who'd reported Jackson to the authorities.
a
Wiedenot
lot.
was determined to find more.
It's probably about
Wiedenot
30
got to work
bitches.
quickly. She started using the very app Jackson used to contact her to look for other victims.
Damn,
in
Jackson,
Florida and
you out here
California.
scamming,
Most
scamming.
worked, and Wiedenot started talking to several other victims from the 2 states. She even put them in touch with one another, creating a network of Jackson victims who could talk about their experiences. Kretschmer found 8
Oh, here you
victims
go.
during years of
Yeah,
investigation. Wiedenot found 10 victims in just 1 month. These
Damn.
women, mostly African American in their 30s, told each other how Jackson humiliated them. Though many of the victims shared their stories with other victims, most were reluctant to give their names to the media out of embarrassment. They all wanted to see some form of justice, though. Kretschmer promised Wiedenot an arrest, with the deadline being April 28th.
Hey man, if you get scammed, don't be embarrassed about that shit. Get your fucking money back.
Expose them. Let
Expose
everybody
their
else
ass,
know.
embarrass
like,
them. Why would you be embarrassed, nigga? They the thieves. Fuck
For
that.
real. It's not your
Team,
fault.
after traveling to
Expose 'em.
Afghanistan for a few months to work as a civilian air traffic controller,
I'm
we
getting
not looked
scammed.
at the
I'm
calendar
exposing you.
and noticed the
Exposing
month was
your ass.
January. The year 2019. We do not, in her extensive research, remembered reading how Jackson had gotten away. Most of the escapes were made possible by lazy investigators and prosecutors. We do not couldn't.
That
let
boy
another
smart, he
detective
had a
move
niche.
him under a pile of other cases. So she gave Crashier an ultimatum: arrest Jackson, or we not would file a complaint on the veteran detective who was set to retire any day now. Crashier chose the harder option and looked up Jackson on her
Detective
computer.
man,
She
like,
found a
oh my
warrant in his name for
Mhm.
Grand Theft Auto and sent a team of
Nip this
officers
out.
to bring him in. Jackson was arrested on May 23rd, 2019 in Los Angeles. He was
Damn.
taken into police custody and hired a lawyer. But the lawyer left after Jackson's check bounced. His public defender convinced him to plead not guilty despite over 60 women coming forward to testify
60?
against
Boy, you about to get 5
him
years.
felony charges. In total, Jackson is believed to have collected over $200,000 from his victims, including Weednot. Sadly, they'll never get that money back. But they can enjoy knowing that Jackson's face and reputation were smeared across news media outlets like Newsweek, The Daily Beast, and several local LA outlets. Click here to watch one of these next.
Ladies out there, y'all seen his face? Beware.
Beware of them guys that's in your messenger and in your DMs, man. Especially if they're in a whole nother state and trying to get you to fly out and all that.
Jackson.
And do your research on people, man. You know, don't wait till it's too late. And watch your shit. Watch your shit when you got your back turned. Keep your shit on you. You know?
If y'all haven't been dating or whatever, like, I don't even suggest staying with them if this your first time really meeting somebody in person.
If that nigga ain't
your
come to you,
own.
then hey,
Yeah,
fuck that. You
that's
know what I'm
weird.
saying? He should have paid for something first. So make the nigga pay first. Fuck it. That nigga finessed you off top with the plane ticket with the fake boarding pass, and then had you buy your own plane ticket. Then
She
you
lost
went
the
way
plane
out
ticket
there.
plus $2,500.
You know what I'm saying? God damn, man. I feel bad for Shorty, man. Y'all pay attention to this shit.
Yes, ahead of time, please.
It's big wave, God, man.
La Lindsay.
And we gone.